Well, thank you all so much for being here today. I want to, of course, thank the United Musicians and Allied Workers for your tireless organizing and advocacy for a fairer system that values the hard work, creativity, and talent that artists pour into their music. Thank you for reaching out to me because the pandemic destroyed so many lives. And one of the things that you continue to tell me is the venues you all performed in, the restaurants, so many people, hotels, all got bailed out except you all were left behind. And I remember tearing up hearing the stories of having to lose your homes, not being able to find, uh, uh, resources and money to be able to feed yourselves and so much more. As you all know, I come from the most beautiful, blackest city in the country, the city of Detroit, which is also known for Motown, where our music has changed the world in so many incredible ways. Our music was part of the movements of the civil rights and so much more, and continued to be movement work in Detroit on pushing back against corporate greed, and we use it again to challenge the status quo. Many of you are doing that today by showing up here. But artists in my district and across the country are struggling to make ends meet in an industry where the money just keeps going to executives and shareholders. Right now, it takes an artist more than 800,000 streams per month to make the equivalent of $15 per hour. At the vast majority of artists on platforms like Spotify don't even get 800,000 streams in a year. This is a huge deal. It's a huge challenge. Streaming now represents 85% of recorded music industry revenue in the United States is through streaming options. But most of the artists who bring joy to our lives and culture aren't seeing any of it. People in my district are always shocked at my town halls and coffee hours when I tell them that. They think if you're on Spotify, then you're making all kinds of money. The Living Wage for Musicians Act is educating so many people across the country that we need to change all of the status quo in regards to streaming, that by creating a new fund that would pay artists more fairly when their music is streamed. Our goal is extremely reasonable. We just want a penny, 1 penny per stream. I know some of you want more. Instead of the tiny fractions of a penny artists get now. This is literally nothing, but it's more than what we have now, and it's a beginning. This bill would revolutionize the music industry, supporting a much more diverse set of artists, enabling more recording and touring, and sending ripple effects through our local economies by supporting professionals throughout the music business. I've introduced a lot of bills in my time in Congress, but I have to tell you, the grassroots reaction and support for this bill when we first introduced it last year has been overwhelming. I've heard from people I've never heard of, and I had to Google many of them or search them up. But what I loved is it gave so many people hope. They didn't even know this was an option to ask Congress to fix this broken system. We've had so many people from across our district, but also across the country. I even had a couple mothers tell me, my son really loves you because of this bill. But thank you for reaching out to us. Thank you for trusting me and being a partner in this. I may have really relied heavily on all of you to help me understand what is happening, but I'm helping my residents and Americans throughout the country to understand. It just shows you how urgent the situation is for musicians, as you all know, like it is for many working people across our country. I really encourage my colleagues to co-sponsor this bill. Many of them have artists and musicians and creative people right now that are being robbed. Their work is being taken by the for-profit schemes, and they're making money off of them, with them left with nothing. Every single congressional district has an independent musician working in their communities. So I encourage my colleagues to please support this bill. I'm so incredibly thrilled to be joined by musicians and organizers with UMA, who will share their experiences and why this bill is so important. With that, I'm going to ask Joey to come on up here. And again, thank you so much to the incredible advocacy. It's been years, but we're here, and more people are learning again how important this bill and this change in policy is in our country.
Thank you, Rep. Thank you, Rashida. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Joey DeFrancesco. I'm an organizer with and one of the co-founders of United Musicians and Allied Workers, or UMA. First, thank you so much to Representative Tlaib and her staff and all of our other co-sponsors for standing up for working people with this bill, standing up for working musicians with this bill. This legislation introduced today, the Living Wage for Musicians Act, is monumental. It would be the biggest shift in power in the music industry in decades, finally compensating artists fairly for our work on digital platforms. The music industry is raking in massive profits year after year right now, but it's all going to the big tech companies, to the music industry monopolies like Live Nation, Ticketmaster, and Spotify. And it's time we pass this bill so that artists who actually create the music, create all of this wealth in the industry, get paid our fair share. We started UMA just 5 years ago, and we've already grown this organization into thousands of members all over the country and have mobilized over 100,000 musicians, music workers, and supporters to take action to build a more just music industry. So we've won victories across the industry and showed in our industry that yet again, that when workers organize, we can win and we can make things happen. As a grassroots organization of musicians, when we started 5 years ago, we never thought we'd be on Capitol Hill celebrating new legislation being introduced. But because of building our collective power, musicians, music workers, and fans have made this happen. And we're going to keep building and keep fighting and keep pushing till we get this bill passed. So thank you again to Representative Tlaib and for leading the way for us to make sure that musicians finally get paid fairly for our work. Thank you.
I'm going to have Damon.
Hello, thank you so much. Thank you to Representative Tlaib and for her staff for leading the way on this. They've worked with us intensively over a long period of time to look for a solution in the music industry that would serve all recording musicians. My name is Damon Krukevsky. I'm a good deal older than most of my colleagues in UMA. My career in music started in the 1980s, before CDs, much less streaming. Many of the difficulties and pleasures of a life in music are the same now as they were then. But what has completely changed is our ability to earn a living through recorded music, even when that music finds a large audience, which many of our members have, and yet they cannot earn anything back from the money that we put into that, from the labor that we put into that for everybody's pleasure and the profit of the streaming companies. Streaming, as the representative told us, streaming now accounts for 85% of all recorded music income in the US, according to the RIAA. Yet streaming platforms pay recording musicians precisely zero directly, zero. When the technology for digital distribution of recorded music first entered the market in the late 1990s, Congress unanimously passed laws to require that these new platforms pay a share of their income directly to recording musicians. This includes satellite radio, internet broadcast, and non-interactive streaming platforms like Pandora. That system works, and it is functioning today. However, when interactive streaming entered the US market, pioneered by Spotify in 2011 and soon followed by Apple Music, Amazon Music, and others, these platforms determined that Congress's existing laws did not apply to them. The direct payment to recording musicians that Congress put in place for digital distribution does not exist for the most important means of that distribution in our era, which is interactive streaming. The Living Wage for Musicians Act uses language from these prior acts of Congress, passed unanimously in the 1990s, to close this loophole and finally make all streaming platforms pay recording artists directly. Recording musicians need a direct share of income that streaming generates in order to continue making the music that both the platforms and their users, our fans, want and need us to create. Keep recorded music by human musicians alive by passing the Living Wage for Musicians Act. Thank you again to Representative Tlaib and her tireless, fantastic staff. I want to introduce my colleague Julia Holter, one of my favorite singer-songwriters, to say a few words.
Hello. I'm a musician. My name is Julia Holter. I'm a musician based in Los Angeles, and I guess I'm trying to look at the Living Wage for Musicians Act from outside of just my own perspective as a musician who records and tours. This bill is centered around fair pay for recording artists who currently do not have a fair deal in the current streaming model. But what this bill entails is many things on a bigger level. It benefits the whole music ecosystem. First, you can look at like the current situation of musicians from a fan's perspective. There's some quotes from Spotify's Daniel Ek that I wanted to quote to start. You can't record music once every 3 to 4 years and think that's going to be enough, is one of the quotes. And the other one is the cost of creating content is close to zero. By content, I think he meant music. But it wasn't clear in the statement because the word music wasn't in there. Our answer is you can't pay musicians 0.003 cents a stream and think that's going to be enough for anybody, not just for the artists, but they just aren't going to be able, we're not going to be able to keep making great music this way. If you just think about like a piece of music that you love, that's important to you, that's helped you through something, has brought you various revelations, and think about what elements of that music you are attracted to, questions to think about in regards to the current climate for musicians. Here's a question. Do you wish that this artist who made a record you love would make a new album like 3 times a year, or a new song every single month, or not necessarily release an actual follow-up record ever, but just some singles? And the question might, and you might answer yes, because you love this artist, which is fair. But do you want that music to be like less soulful because they can't afford to pay anyone to help them make it? Do you want it to be they're doing too many things at once, they have too many jobs that they're trying to do while they're trying to make this record? As an artist, I personally can reflect on music that I make when I don't have enough time. It tends to be awkward pacing, too cluttered, the lyrics don't really make sense, all kinds of problems. So that's a question. And do you want a lot of not great music from the artists that you love, basically? And do you prefer this artist to be thinking of making music as if it were just content and truly making it for no money at all, so cheaply? No ability to hire any actual musicians playing on the record or an engineer to make it sound good. Obviously, not all art requires professional this and that and big budget, but the mindset of content is not in the interest of artistic integrity or anything that makes us love the music that we love. It's in the interest of creating as much stuff as possible for profiting, and not profiting, the musicians not profiting, but you know, whoever, the shareholders and everything that Representative Tlaib was talking about. And finally, do you want the artist to pay attention to what the algorithm says will get them more plays and to stop thinking for themselves? This trajectory is really scary because it basically is like, why even have actual artists and not just AI, right? Do you think that the artists that you love will continue to make work that made you feel inspired in this current scenario, or in one in which they are paid fairly, and thus hiring people to contribute their talent to the music, supporting the ecosystem, keeping the live music economy healthy? Let's pass the Living Wage for Musicians Act, have less musicians having to cancel tours, which is happening, and make sure they can keep making music, because the world is a really difficult place and we need art for our sanity. And I just really want to thank Representative Tlaib, like such an inspiration, and thank you so much for everything. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Alexia is next.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I am so honored to be a part of UMA and be a part of some people that are trying to make a difference in the music industry, because I'm 26, I've been in it for 10 years, and it's horrible. It is so exploitative, and it's pretty unfortunate that, you know, I bare my soul in my songs, and I talk to my fans, and like, I put all this hard work into the music that I make, and random people that I don't know get to profit off of it, while I have to go on tour for 9 months, because what we're getting from streaming isn't sustainable and isn't nearly as much as we should be getting. So I'm gonna do a little song because we're all musicians here, right? For the most part. I hope you can hear it. Yeah, I have like a mini.
First for me.
Yeah.
A lot of press conferences. This is gonna be really cool.
I mean, I'm a little nervous, not gonna lie. And thank you so much for having us, and thank you for championing this. Like, streaming is so unregulated; it's kind of insane, and someone needs to put a stop to it. This is also like the Living Wage for Musicians Act would change the lives of every musician I know. Every single musician I know would get more money, which they need to pay rent, so that they can keep making the songs that you love. Okay. I'm in a band called Destroy Boys, and this is one of our songs. It's called Plugged. Yeah. Let's see, is that loud enough? It is kind of quiet, huh?
No, it's good.
Okay.
It's good.
I like the clean tone more, but... Okay. Actually, I'm gonna do whatever I want, not what the audience wants. Artists, if you don't have to rely on algorithms, you get to do whatever you want. And trust me, this is gonna sound better. My voice, taken, my choice, not mine in the first place. My fears, unseen, my troubles, faking. But my days are full of material, but I can't write anything I forgot. How to sing just a bird with plucked wings. You know, I don't wanna be here. I know that you don't either, but we don't have a choice, or kind of, on paper. But my days are full of other people, and it's becoming way too much. I forgot how to sing just a bird with plucked wings. Take a bird out the sky and you wonder why. Take a bird out of the sky, and when she wants to fly, you wonder why. You wonder why. She wants to fly. You wonder why. But my days are full of material, but I can't write anything I forgot. How to sing just a bird with plucked wings. Pass the Living Wage for Musicians Act. Every musician would benefit from it. It would make everybody's lives better because we would get to live and get to make our art like we should be doing. So, thank you. I've been Alexia Roditis, and up next is Dior Ashley Brown.
Thank you so much for that. That was amazing.
Hi, my name is Diora Ashley Brown. I'm a full-time independent hip-hop funk artist, band leader, and founder of DC Music Summit nonprofit. Artists deserve to be paid for the work they create. Okay, I just want to make sure we all on the same page with that. A career in music is a profession that requires training, discipline, countless hours of practice, and often personal sacrifice. Yet, too often, the people who create the soundtrack of our lives and inspire us are asked to do it for free or for wages that don't cover rent, groceries, or other health care. And this is the current and constant state of our industry year after year, decade after decade. Today, we gather in recognition of the United Musicians and Allied Workers' push for a Working Wage for Musicians Act. The introduction of this bill underscores something vital: the recognition that musicians are workers and that our contributions to culture and community deserve fair treatment and fair pay. We know no bill passes on passion alone. Real change requires bipartisan support, collaboration, and dialogue across the aisle. What matters most is that we work together, artists, policymakers, communities, to find solutions that are sustainable, practical, and truly protective of working musicians. We love what we do. But when artists can't survive, entire communities lose. Venues close, future talent leaves, and the cultural fabric that makes our cities vibrant begins to unravel. Free DC. This conversation is about more than paychecks. It's about equity, sustainability, and justice for workers who have far too long have become invisible in policy conversations. Musicians are workers. Our labor deserves protection. Our contributions deserve respect. We need real bipartisan solutions. We need policymakers to listen, to act, and to come together, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as leaders who value the role of art and culture in the life of this nation. Let's build an industry where working musicians can afford to keep working. Let's come together across party lines to ensure that people who give so much to their art can live with dignity. Thank you. Pass the Living Wage for Musicians Act. Thank you so much, Rep. I appreciate you. Oh, Ellie Carpenter.
Good afternoon. My name is L.A. Carpenter. I am a songwriter and artist manager representing DC's own Queen of the Blues, Carly Harvey, and I also serve as the co-chair for the DC chapter of Women in Music, a global nonprofit dedicated to advancing equity and opportunity for women and marginalized voices across the music industry. Most importantly, I stand here as an advocate for fair pay for all artists. Music is work, it is labor, and just like any other labor, it deserves fair compensation. Streaming platforms are now the primary way people consume music, yet most artists, especially independent artists, see only a fractions of a penny per stream, which is insane. The Living Wage for Musicians Act begins to correct this imbalance, ensuring that artists can build sustainable careers instead of being forced out of the industry they love. For women, people of color, and independent musicians already navigating systemic barriers, this legislation would be transformative. Fair pay means more diverse. Fair pay means more diverse voices can thrive, not just survive in music. When artists are paid fairly, communities are strengthened, culture flourishes, and the industry becomes more sustainable for everyone. So, on behalf of women across the music industry, the artists we represent, independent artists, I fully support the Living Wage for Musicians Act. This is not a partisan issue, it is a fairness issue. Music is the heartbeat of our culture, and people who create it deserve to be able to live with dignity. Thank you.
I think we're going to open up for any questions. it's a penny would have to go into a fund that would be paid out to artists. All the streaming. Yep. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Coleman. So much of the work that we do is about educating communities about how different, how these things work. How important is it for you and the advocates here to educate communities, members of Congress, of these disparities? I spoke to a lot of people leading up to this press conference who are literally unaware.
Completely unaware. They honestly think they see them in the Apple Music or they'll see it on, YouTube, and they think, oh, it's such a great song. They think they're all set. They got homes. They're living large. No, really. No, I know you guys are laughing, but it is true. But when I bring it up, I even said, I can't remember the thousands of streams they have to have just to buy a cup of coffee, and they're taken aback and shocked. I mean, look, my residents know corporate greed when they see it. They know what monopolies have done to the health industry, to other workers in the hotel industry, and so many others that continue to, again, be on survivor mode constantly instead of being able to thrive. And so they're unaware, though. They think if somebody's famous, is on stage performing, all these fans, all these people that support them, they think they're okay, they're doing well. And what they're realizing is the streaming platforms are taking all of the profit from the work that they're all doing.
This is a conversation that's been long overdue.
Yeah.
How do you think it fits in with this larger affordability conversation?
Yeah. We're actually doing the whole rollout on affordability crisis, and this is one of the bills we talk about. The price gouging on groceries and so much more. It absolutely does. This is how we fight back against those that continue to profit off of those that are not making a living wage. And so it is absolutely showing the brokenness. Look, the pandemic, if anything, showed us that there was no real safety net for so many workers across the country, and musicians were left behind. You saw, again, all of the industries, the hotels, the restaurants, the venues that many perform at, all get bailed out with these PPP loans. They got nothing. And if anything, it showed just how fragile and vulnerable the workforce among musicians are. And so it absolutely, we do have an affordability crisis in our country right now. The housing crisis is impacting every single person behind me. And so it is absolutely connected. When we talk about restaurant workers, Bill of Rights, when we talk about trying to make sure that child care workers are being able to get paid and being able to get access to health care and so much more, I just feel like, and I think Dior said it, they get left out as if it's like musicians are not workers too. They're working incredibly hard, and like she said, many are trained, and it takes a lot of effort to be able to produce and create what they do, and all of us enjoy it, and we love the song, and everyone's like, oh, this is a great song, they must be making so much money. When they find out they're making almost barely nothing, for you, yeah. 800,000 streams to get that little amount is just it's not only unfair, it's unjust. They are making so much money off the backs of the workers behind me, and so many more. I've never had this outpouring of people that I think felt very unseen by this institution behind me. I don't think they felt like anybody cared here, and it really happened with just a handful of folks meeting with me, and me also having an aha moment, like, really? I had no idea, and I'm a member of Congress, so imagine so many of my other colleagues don't know, and that's why they're here. It's not just going to be a press conference. They're going to go meet with their members of Congress. They're going to be meeting with other folks and educating folks. But again, when I put this in my newsletter, when I share it with my residents, and some of them are my seasoned residents in Detroit, they're like, no, they can't do that to them. So they know when something's unjust and we need to address it. But we also, it's interesting you say that because I see this as part of the affordability crisis that we have to address. Yep. Any questions for our amazing musicians and creative producers? No? You could do individual also. Yes.
Given everything that's going on right now, I wonder what challenges you foresee in trying to get this bill passed in Congress, and what would those conversations look like with members across the aisle to try to get this passed?
Look, every bill I've ever worked on, one thing that I've learned from organizers, I used to be that person that protested Congress or outside of city halls demanding city council do what's right. transformative change starts with us organizing outside and pushing them on the inside. That doesn't change with or without a shutdown. I can tell you right now, again, now they have an organizing tool, an actual solution to the problem that we're addressing, that they're going to go to be able to go to people in groups and gain more members to UMA, and just really push out there the understanding of why this is important. I've seen me start with a bill around, addressing child poverty. It took me 3 or 4 years to get now this many people as part of the Mamas Caucus, but again, it's because we were bold enough to introduce a solution. We're not waiting for them to say, oh, I know everything about it. We're using this to teach them what they should understand right now by incredible musicians and content creators, artists, and it's people that also help make the music that contacted our office. It's not just even the front facing artists. It's been incredible, again, the outpouring of folks saying, I didn't even know this was an option. Yeah. Thank you. Yep, and you can do individual one-on-one interviews as well.